I'm a 34-year-old man who used to be a senior IT project manager at a soul-crushing corporate tech firm that demanded endless hours but paid just enough to keep me tethered. My wife ridiculed the bouquet I brought home, scoffed at my modest 3% salary bump, and branded me stingy, so I disappeared, along with our shared finances. Now she's pleading for my return. I'd been at that job for almost 10 years, not the life I'd dreamed of as a kid when I wanted to launch my own video game studio. Still, the role pulled in $110,000 annually, plus bonuses. My now ex-wife, Vanessa, a 32-year-old woman, made sure that money vanished almost as soon as it hit our account. We met 7 years ago at my buddy Jordan's wedding, where she was the maid of honor. Stunning, self-assured, and quick with a quip, she had a way of making you want to earn her approval. Back then, she was a marketing freelancer, mostly posting on Instagram for small shops, barely scraping by. I was earning $85,000 and had just bought my first condo. And looking back, that might have been what drew her in. The first couple of years were decent, though not perfect. She'd gripe about her job, how her women's studies degree was overlooked in the corporate world, and how systemic barriers blocked her dream career. Meanwhile, I was grinding 60 to 70-hour weeks, taking on side gigs and sacrificing weekends to save for the house she insisted we needed in a prestige neighborhood. She had a talent for making me feel inadequate. A 5% raise? Why not 10%? Flowers? Her friend's husband whisked his wife off to exotic retreats. She was always measuring me against others, always wanting more. We tied the knot after 18 months together. Her parents supposedly funded a small wedding, but I later learned my $15,000 contribution covered most of it, and they just took the credit. She pushed for a prenup, ironically to shield a $30,000 trust fund she'd inherit at 35. Smitten and naive, I agreed, and even paid for the lawyer to draft it. You can see where this is going. Things unraveled when I added her name to the mortgage on our $575,000 suburban house. I'd put down $110,000 from selling my condo and my savings. She contributed nothing but demanded equal ownership. "That's marriage," she said. "What's yours is ours, what's mine is mine." She'd laugh with her friends. I should have seen the warning signs. The house, like her, was a money pit. Within months, she declared our functional kitchen outdated. $40,000. 6 months later, the master bathroom was humiliating. I took on extra consulting work, postponed vacations, and burned myself out to fund her vision of our lifestyle. My parents noticed the toll. During a rare visit, Vanessa always had conflicts when my family was involved. My dad asked if I was okay. I brushed it off, blaming work stress. Truth was, I was exhausted from tiptoeing around her in my own home. Everything had to be her way. Decor, trips, even who we socialized with. My college buddies were childish, my co-workers dull suits. My family lived too far for regular visits. Her friends, though, they were empowered queens who deserved lavish dinners at upscale spots. Her family warranted frequent trips and gifts. Her dreams required my full financial and emotional backing. By our 3rd year, she'd quit her marketing gig to discover herself, embarking on a string of costly passions and fleeting career ideas. There was the ceramics phase, $2,500 for supplies. The photography venture, $4,200 for gear. The interior design program, $3,800 in fees. Eventually, she settled on being a wellness influencer. By last June, I'd been promoted to senior project manager, overseeing a 12-person team and a $25 million portfolio. More stress, longer hours, but a solid raise to $128,000 plus quarterly bonuses. Vanessa, meanwhile, had cycled through 4 jobs, none lasting over 8 months. She was between ventures again, unemployed for the 3rd time in our marriage, but had launched an Instagram healthy living brand with about 1,200 followers, earning roughly $200 a month from affiliate links. I'd rise at 5:30 a.m. for a quick workout before starting work at 7. She'd sleep till 9 or 10, then spend hours on her phone building her audience or filming content, mostly selfies with items she'd convinced me to buy. While I choked down limp desk salads during endless meetings, she'd post gourmet dishes, preaching about self-care and rejecting grind culture. My boss, Brandon, invited the management team and their spouses to his lake house, a 2-hour drive from the city, for a weekend to celebrate a major project I'd led for 3 grueling months. Vanessa complained the whole way up. The car, a BMW 5 Series, was cramped. The weather was sweltering. My music was uninspired. I kept telling myself this weekend was crucial for my career. Stay calm, impress, don't let her ruin it. She perked up when we arrived. Brandon's place was a breathtaking lakefront estate with a pier, 5 bedrooms, and luxury touches. Vanessa instantly bonded with Brandon's wife, Natalie, and their mutual friend, Chloe, a 29-year-old married to another manager. Within an hour, they were chatting like lifelong pals, Vanessa name-dropping high-end brands and wellness retreats as if they defined our life. I was fetching drinks for Vanessa and Chloe when I overheard them on the deck. God, I don't know how you manage, Chloe said. Eric's so consumed by work? Vanessa let out a snide chuckle I'd grown to loathe. Marriage feels like a trap sometimes. I can barely breathe with him obsessing over our accounts, nitpicking every purchase. Chloe lowered her voice. But he earns well, right? Sure, but what's the use? He's so frugal. Last month, he actually suggested I get a real job instead of backing my brand. Like, sorry, I'm not chaining myself to a corporate overlord like you, Eric. She mocked my name, oblivious that I was right behind her, holding 2 sodas. He's so ordinary. My ex, Derek, would have championed my vision. He's in San Francisco now, crushing it with his startup. Sometimes I wonder what life would have been if I'd gone with him. I stood frozen, sodas sweating in my hands, as my wife of 5 years reduced our marriage to a sentence she was enduring for my paycheck. 5 years of pouring everything, my time, health, friendships, dreams, into her, only for her to mock it with someone she'd known for 3 months. The worst part? It wasn't new. 3 months earlier, at brunch with her cousin, she'd quipped, "Marriage is like signing up for a cushy prison with better meals." While I sat there. 6 months before, when I brought up starting a family, she visibly recoiled and said, "Let's not add more locks to the cage, babe." I don't recall much after that. I faked my way through the weekend, smiling and playing the part, but something inside me broke. Standing on that polished deck, imported sodas warming in my hands, I resolved that if our marriage was her prison, I'd set her free, but she'd learn freedom has a price. On the drive home, Vanessa griped about everything. Natalie's gaudy new kitchen, the lake house's cheap linens, and how pathetic my 3% raise was when Brandon mentioned others getting 5%. "We need to discuss your career path," she said, scrolling her phone. "Brandon mentioned a director role opening next year. That's at least $170,000, right? We could finally redo the backyard. I've been eyeing those eco-friendly plunge pools." I nodded, murmuring agreement, while my mind raced. The prenup she'd demanded protected her trust fund, my retirement accounts, and assets I brought into the marriage. But in our community property state, she could claim half of everything else? What if there was nothing joint to split? Monday, I called in sick for the first time in 3 years. While Vanessa was at a strategy brunch with her Instagram crew, racking up $120 on our shared card, I made 2 pivotal calls. First to Mark, a college friend turned divorce lawyer, then to my bank. "Eric, man, it's been ages," Mark said, his voice a small comfort. We'd drifted apart after my marriage. Vanessa deemed him a bad influence for being single and fiercely independent. "I need your expertise, Mark." "It's serious." I laid out the situation. After a long pause, he said, "I'm sorry, man, but you're in good hands. Her prenup actually tilts things your way. She can't touch your 401k or the house's down payment, but we need to be meticulous with the rest." Mark advised me to act normal while gathering proof. Don't confront her, don't shift your routine, and don't move money suspiciously. Courts hate that. That afternoon, I opened a new account at another bank. I started tracking every dollar I'd spent on our joint expenses, every major purchase, and, crucially, every disparaging remark Vanessa made about our marriage online. I saved screenshots of her flirty exchanges with her ex, Derek, who was more present in her digital life than I'd realized. Receipts for 4 designer bags she'd bought last month while preaching budget cuts. For 6 weeks, I lived a double life. Outwardly, I was the same, working late, listening to her complaints, funding her brand collabs that required new outfits and spa days. Behind the scenes, I executed my exit with the precision of my project management job. Phase 1. Financial untangling. I rerouted my next paycheck to my new account, leaving just enough in our joint one to avoid suspicion. I calculated my average monthly contribution to the mortgage and bills, $4,650, and deposited only that. Phase 2. Documenting her actions. I installed a discreet recording device in our living room, legal in my state with one party's consent. It captured gems like her hour-long call with Chloe, lamenting how settling for security over passion was suffocating her soul, and how I couldn't grasp a real woman's desires. Phase 3. Rallying support. I reconnected with friends she'd alienated, like Jordan, whose wedding brought us together, and his wife, Rachel. Vanessa had once tried to convince Rachel that Jordan was unfaithful, a strange power play that backfired when Jordan uncovered it. They'd been waiting for me to see Vanessa's true colors. "She told me you two were struggling," Jordan said at our first lunch in over a year. "Claimed you were possessive and insecure, but it never added up with the Eric I know." Rachel nodded. "She showed me proof Jordan was cheating, a jewelry store receipt that wasn't for me. It was for his mom's birthday. Vanessa seemed almost upset when I told her, like she wanted our marriage to crash too." The most damning evidence came unexpectedly from Natalie, Brandon's wife. She forwarded me an email Vanessa had mistakenly sent her instead of Chloe, outlining her exit plan. Wait for my hoped-for director promotion next year, then divorce me when my salary hit $175,000. The email revealed a hidden business account I didn't know about and her talks with a lawyer specializing in maximizing payouts for women in financially oppressive marriages. I sent it all to Mark. His reply, "Holy hell, this is a goldmine." During those weeks, I realized Vanessa lied about her whereabouts almost daily. Networking lunches were shopping binges. Her San Diego summit coincided with Derek's conference at the same hotel. She'd even withdrawn $3,000 from our emergency fund for what turned out to be fillers and Botox. The final blow was discovering she'd been secretly paying off a separate credit card I didn't know about, racking up $18,000 in debt over 8 months, mostly on retail, spa visits, and solo trips she never invited me on. I felt like I'd been married to a stranger wearing my wife's face. Vanessa's big break came when she announced an all-expenses-paid influencer retreat in Sedona, requiring me to cover $1,500 for miscellaneous costs. I agreed instantly, surprising her with my enthusiasm. "Really? You're not going to hassle me about this?" she asked, wary. "Nope," I said, beaming. "Your brand's taking off. This could be your moment." She squinted, then grinned. "Finally, you're getting how this influencer game works. Invest now, win big later." The irony was almost unbearable. Once her flight took off, I sprang into action. I took a week off work, my first real break in years. With Jordan, Mark, and 2 cash-paid movers, I relocated my belongings to a storage unit in 48 hours. I cataloged and photographed every item in the house, backed by receipts. Installed security cameras with visible warning labels at entry points, all above board. I changed the codes for our joint credit accounts. I met with Brandon to share my plan and secure his backing. "I had a feeling something was up," Brandon admitted after reviewing my evidence. "Natalie said Vanessa was probing into our finances and my pay structure. Now it makes sense." Most critically, I had bank records showing Vanessa had been funneling $750 to $1,200 monthly to a secret account for 18 months, siphoning off over $21,000 from my contributions while claiming she needed more for household costs. Mark filed for divorce the day before Vanessa's return. We also submitted an urgent motion alleging financial misconduct, requesting a freeze on all joint assets pending review. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, approved it within hours. I didn't go home. Instead, I checked into a budget motel and waited. Mark had cautioned against returning to the house when she got back, for legal and personal safety. "People lose it when backed into a corner," he said. For the first time in years, I slept deeply, unplagued by stress dreams or money worries. It was like dropping a 100-pound load I hadn't known I was hauling. Vanessa's first call hit at 8:47 p.m., just after her flight landed. "Eric, what's this notice on the door? Why don't my keys work?" "Check your email," I said evenly. "What? I just got off a plane. What's happening?" she demanded. "Check your email." I hung up. Minutes later, my phone exploded with calls, texts, each more frantic. I let them pile up in voicemail. From her messages, I pieced together her reaction. She'd arrived to find the locks legally changed, a divorce notice taped to the door, and her email inbox loaded with the filing, plus a court order freezing our accounts, including the cards she'd planned to use for a ride or hotel. Her voicemails escalated. "You can't lock me out of my house. This is illegal, you jerk." "Where am I supposed to go? Everything's inside." "You'll pay for this. I've got lawyers, too." "This is abuse. I'm calling the cops." At 11:23 p.m., she texted, "You're a sociopath. You'll regret this." I forwarded it to Mark, labeling it Threat Number 1. The next morning, Jordan called. "Dude, Vanessa's on a warpath. She's telling everyone you've had a mental break, maybe from work or drugs, and ditched her with nothing. She even called Brandon, saying you've been skimming company funds to feed a betting habit." I laughed, genuinely amused for the first time in ages. "Brandon's already in the know. He's helping me document her secret account." "She showed up at our place at midnight," Jordan added. "Rachel didn't want to let her in, but she was wailing loud enough to wake the block. She trashed you for 2 hours, then asked to borrow $2,000 for a lawyer." "Did you give it?" "Hell no. We offered the sofa for one night, that's it. She left this morning, fuming we wouldn't back her." Other contacts reported similar stories. Vanessa was spinning a tale of sudden betrayal to anyone who'd listen. She even called my parents, claiming I'd turned controlling and delusional, possibly needing psychiatric help. I'd already briefed them, and Dad's reply was blunt. "High time, son. She's been draining you for years." The real fireworks hit 3 days later at the emergency hearing. Vanessa showed up with a shark of an attorney, a woman known for shredding husbands in court. They came loaded with claims of my domineering behavior, financial control, and abandonment. Vanessa had been prepped. Gone were the glamorous outfits. She wore a plain dress, light makeup, and a simple ponytail, the image of a betrayed wife. They weren't ready for Mark's surgical takedown, bank records of her hidden account, audio of her trashing our marriage, screenshots of her flirty ex-chats, her email plotting to divorce me post-promotion, statements from Brandon, Natalie, Jordan, and Rachel about her conduct, credit card records of her splurges while jobless, proof she'd met 3 divorce lawyers while I worked late. She even took $3,000 from our emergency fund for cosmetic procedures. The judge, initially impassive, removed her glasses halfway through Mark's case. "Mrs. Reynolds," she said, pinning Vanessa with a stare, "are you aware of the concept of divorce planning? It's when someone covertly prepares to exit a marriage while milking its benefits, often inflating their spouse's financial liabilities." Vanessa's lawyer tried to object, but was cut off. "The court frowns deeply on such conduct." Vanessa tried to deflect with sobs and confusion. "I was just scared, exploring options. I never meant to follow through. Eric was always so restrictive with money. I had to protect myself." The judge cited evidence. "Your texts to your friend state, quote, 2 more years till his director role kicks in. Then I file and take half plus maintenance. He'll be earning near $180,000. That doesn't suggest someone with no intent. By the hearing's end, the judge upheld the asset freeze, ordered Vanessa to account for her secret funds, granted me sole use of the house, and made her cover her own legal fees. Outside the courthouse, I finally met Vanessa's gaze. Her polished look couldn't mask her fury. She lunged toward me, but Mark blocked her. "Save it for your lawyer," he said. She caught me in the hallway later, whispering, "Eric, this is crazy. You know that stuff was twisted. We can still sort this if you drop this now." "You had years to sort it while planning to gut me financially," I replied. Her mask fell, revealing the schemer I'd lived with. "You think you're ahead? You don't know what I can do." I just smiled. "I built you up, Vanessa. I can ruin you just as fast." I smiled. "Threats in a courthouse? Bold move." Her attorney-lawyer yanked her away, muttering fiercely. Word spread fast in our circles. Vanessa pushed a story of my mental collapse, blaming work or drugs for my abandonment. My documented case that she'd planned to fleece me while cozying up to her ex gained ground as evidence mounted. Chloe, surprisingly, turned ally, sharing thousands of texts where Vanessa bragged about manipulating me. "Eric thinks the Peloton's for both of us, as if I'd touch it after him. Told Eric my car needed $900 in repairs. Hello, new fillers. Eric thinks $300 shoes will spice up our bedroom. Guess which part's a lie?" Chloe, newly married, said Vanessa's view of marriage unnerved her. What if my husband had someone like her poisoning him against me? The texts exposed Vanessa's years of deceit, including girls' trips that were really meetups with Derek. 2 weeks after the hearing, Vanessa's lawyer proposed a settlement. Her bravado collapsed when she learned 3 things. 1, her prenup protected my savings and house down payment. 2, her financial scheming killed any alimony shot. 3, joint assets were divisible, but her actions made an equal split unlikely. The offer was paltry. She'd keep her secret account, worth $23,000, her car, which I'd paid off, and personal items. No alimony, no house share, no ongoing support. Mark called it generous. The judge could have made her repay the siphon money plus fees, he said. I agreed, with one caveat. Vanessa signed an NDA barring her from bad-mouthing me, even online. Her brand would need new content. The divorce wrapped quickly. I sold the house for $110,000 profit, moved to a smaller place near work, and took a month off to recover. The change was profound. Without Vanessa's constant critiques and escalating demands, I rediscovered myself. I revived hobbies, rekindled friendships, and dipped into dating. I shed 35 pounds in 6 months through steady workouts and stopped stress eating. Therapy helped me unpack why I'd used me so long. I rebuilt ties with my family, visiting them without Vanessa's emergencies derailing plans. "You're you again," my mom said on my first visit post-divorce. "We missed this, Eric." 14 months later, I was promoted to Director of Special Projects, earning $175,000 with a 30% bonus potential. I lost another 15 pounds. I was casually dating driven women with their own careers. My company sent me to London for a 6-month leadership program with a generous stipend. Vanessa's wellness brand tanked after brands dropped her following a slurred Instagram live where she ranted about women settling for loser guys. Mutual contacts said she'd moved back to Ohio, working as an assistant manager at a boutique. I'd nearly forgotten her when her text arrived. "Eric, it's been a while. I've done a lot of growing. I see now what I lost. Can we talk? Just for closure?" I ignored it. 3 days later. "Heard about your London gig. Proud of you. You were always going places. A week later. My mom's got breast cancer. I'm struggling. Could use a friend. Against my instincts, better judgment, I replied. Sorry about your mom. Wishing her the best. That cracked the dam. She called instantly. Against Mark's explicit warning, I answered up. Eric, God, it's so good to hear you. That old breathless charm, now just a trigger. What do you want, Vanessa? Want? Can't I just catch up with my ex? She laughed nervously. Okay, fine, I'm in a bind. Her parents had supposedly lost money on a bad deal. Her mom's treatment wasn't fully insured. Her trust fund was nearly gone, covering their parents' debts. She earned $16.45 per hour at the shop. No benefits. Her car needed major work. I know we ended messy, she said, shifting to the coaxing tone she'd used for lavish gifts. But you're the best guy I know, Eric. Truly. What exactly do you want, Vanessa? She paused. I need $30,000 for Mom's care and to stabilize. I'd repay you once I'm set. Or we could work something out. Her voice turned suggestive. I'm still in my prime, you know. You always said I was the most gorgeous woman you'd ever seen. We could reconnect. I could visit London, help you settle in. Like old times? I burst out laughing. The woman who'd called our marriage a cage, plotted to fleece me, mocked me to friends, and defrauded me was now offering to be my paid escort. Vanessa, let's be clear. No money, no reconnection, no arrangements. I only answered because I'm healed enough to not resent you anymore. I feel nothing. I'm sorry about your mom, but her care isn't my burden. You made sure we weren't family anymore. Try Derek in San Francisco. Heard he's thriving. She gasped. That was confidential. Nothing was confidential with you, Vanessa. That's what you missed. Real relationships don't hide secrets. But we never had that. You had a transaction with a vending machine. She was sobbing now, likely real tears as her scheme fizzled. I'm desperate, Eric. I've got no one else. Everyone else left. After all I endured, your dull sex, the long hours, your sad need for approval, you owe me.